Let's start with the most common things in the Imperium. The servitors. They are the ones who clean armor, collect rubbish, go to war in the first ranks without having their own opinions and desires. Servitors can be found everywhere in the Imperium of humanity, and few people remember that they are ordinary humans who have been transformed to follow orders. Each servitor is a combination of human and machine, devoid of personality and mind and possessing a vast array of mechanical implants, such as mechanical skeletons, plasma drills, metal pliers and other devices. Some servitors are coupled with heavy weapons and serve as defense for their master. Others work as holographic recorders. Interestingly, some servitors are grown in artificial nutrient media from cells with the human genome, while others are created from criminals, heretics and fugitives from the law who have undergone complete personality erasure and lobotomies and then flesh processing. Becoming a servitor is one of the worst fates that can befall a human being in the 41st millennium. Former sinners who become servitors wear brass rings around their necks, engraved with all their crimes so that no one forgets who they are dealing with. In reality, a servitor is a serious fighting unit. Not only is he strong thanks to his bionic enhancements and able to take serious damage, but he also lacks the sense of fear and pain, which makes him an indispensable assistant to techno-soldiers and techno-dreads. Servitors also lack intuition. They almost always follow the commands put into their brains by bioprograms. Servitors are often despised, and if not despised, they are treated with indifference, including even by the space marines they serve. To most people in the Imperium, they are simply machines or pieces of equipment. As a rule, people feel antipathy and even hatred towards them, seeing them as a vile perversion of the human spirit and flesh. But there are those who are closely associated with the Adeptus Mechanicus. They consider servitors to be the embodiment of spiritual unity with Omnitia. In some Space Marine orders, the servitors are revered as biomechanical temples, their words scrutinized in the hope of catching a hint of the prophecy of the machine god. The Inquisition considers such visions to be heresy. You know how multifaceted the Imperium of mankind is, but what can the servitors say? Sometimes, without constant supervision and maintenance, servitors can start to deviate from the program, go into a stupor and mumble incomprehensible words, sometimes remembering bits of the past. Some even start to exhibit unusual behavior, but they are quickly corrected to prevent unwanted incidents. And what about the cherubs? They look typical, especially on the battlefield next to a battle sister. They are also servitors, but they are known as Cherubim. They are incapable of independent thought, but are much smarter than normal servitors. They are created mainly for ceremonial purposes and are popular among the rich and powerful as symbols of power. Some use cherubs to demonstrate their spiritual and moral purity. The bodies of cherubs are grown in specialized incubation tanks. Adeptus Biologicus then imbues them with artificial life. This is a complex task requiring the creation of muscles, skeletons, cardiovascular and nervous systems, the last of which is particularly difficult. Cherubim have the most developed nervous system of all servitors, as they are charged with many different tasks. What about the Nephilim? These are entities created not in incubators, but from ordinary children turned into servitors. The word Nephilim itself translates to half-breed, reflecting a mixture of machine and human. To create a true Nephilim requires a child under the age of 6, as older children can have bone density problems. Such a child is lobotomized, embalmed, stunted in growth with chemicals and thoroughly brainwashed. Wings are reinforced on the spine, replacing several vertebrae, and various biotechnical devices are implanted. The procedure is extremely dangerous and often ends in death or transition to a vegetative state. This is why there are only 22 registered Nephilim, and almost all of them were customized. For example, the Duke and Lady Torrington had only one heir, a boy named Tobias, who contracted an incurable nemovirus. With only days to live, the Torringtons decided to create a Nephilim to keep him from dying outright. When they died, the Nephilim inherited their entire fortune, though it was actually run by relatives on his uncle's line. Let's move on to the assassins and start with the Eversor clan. The Assassin Temple carefully selects young men for new assassin candidates. The younger the better. for their bodies are not yet fully formed and can withstand the greatest number of genetic changes. The process of creating an assassin from the Eversor clan involves genetic surgical preparation with the use of a huge amount of drugs. Future assassins undergo endoskeletal reconstruction and hypertrophy of the muscular system, giving them perfect reflexes and the ability to act without rest for long periods of time. In order for the body to withstand overload, a second heart is implanted into it, and the cerebral cortex is enlarged by implanting lobochips, which allows the body to react instantly to threats and feel hatred for the enemies of the Empire. Adrenaline glands embedded in the spine keep the brain functioning. As a result, the Imperium has a fanatical and psychopathic killing machine that is constantly drugged and sent on the most dangerous missions. Creating an assassin is a dangerous business, and many neophytes die during operations or from complications afterwards. A true assassin of the Eversor clan can be a fully healthy neophyte whose heart, brain and hypertrophied muscular system can maintain the balance of hormones and drugs in the blood. If the balance is disturbed, a chemical reaction occurs that causes the assassin's body to ignite and explode. All Eversor assassins are transported in a cryo chamber using secret ships that are scattered throughout the galaxy. When an assassin receives an assignment, he is uploaded into his brain data about the upcoming operation. In between missions, the assassin remembers absolutely nothing, spending tens or even hundreds of years in the cryo chamber. The Sisters of Battle have terrifying inventions as well. The Arco-flagellant, for example, is a nightmare that awaits condemned heretics. Skinning, rat pits, death masks and turning criminals into mere servants is not enough for the Inquisition. In the creation of the Arco-flagellant, the heretic is subjected to extensive surgery and a complete mental upgrade that turns him into an uncontrollable berserker. The heretic's body can be fitted with electric whips, hammers, sharp claws, and obligingly, a control helmet equipped with multiple implants linked to the wearer's nervous system and spine. These helmets serve as a guarantee of safety for everyone around them and keep the Arco-flagellants calm outside of battle by filling their minds with psalms, hymns and prayers to the Emperor. As soon as the code word is spoken, the madness begins. The helmet shuts down all restraints, turning the wearer into a mad killing machine. The body, reinforced with combat stimulants in huge quantities, ignores pain and injury. Even after receiving multiple wounds, the flagellant continues to fight until the helmet activates the restraints again. These agents of death are used for the most dangerous and suicidal attacks, sometimes even being endowed with their own will if authorized by the Inquisitor. These monsters can be found not only with the Inquisitors but also with their agents such as the Sisters of Battle. However, they are most often used by the most ruthless Inquisitors who have no regard for civilian casualties. Among these creatures are their heroes, such as Damien 1427, who was an ordinary official on the planet Siluria 4 until he was hit by a rockfall and miraculously survived. He then began to have visions sent to him by the Emperor himself. This led him to later become an iconoclast, and he gathered a heretical mob. However, after he instigated a short-lived rebellion against the world's planetary governor, Tyran Rex, Damien was arrested and the judgment of Arco-flagellation was passed on him. The Penitent engine is a dreadnought of the Battle Sisters, where the pilot is joined with the machine as a single unit. Operating such a machine is an extremely painful process and is considered atonement for sins. Sinners placed in the penance machine are selected from those whose crimes are too great for simple murder. The sinner's body undergoes numerous alterations, including the implantation of bioimplants and other devices to merge with the machine. In the process, the person is literally taken apart and reassembled, removing excess organs and replacing bones and flesh with augmetics. Inside the structure is a steel skeleton. The limbs are covered with artificial flesh, creating the appearance of a real person chained to a machine. The pilot is brainwashed, but the most important thing is that during all these operations, the pilot remains conscious, which makes the procedure extremely cruel. The pilot is not placed inside the machine, he is actually crucified on its facade, becoming an integral part of the penance machine. Penance is a highly complex brain surgery that can last for weeks. It is necessary in order to implant a control helmet and train the pilot to operate the machine. Part of the pilot's brain is preserved so that the machine can operate independently on the battlefield. After all the operations on the body and brain, the Imperium gets another psychopathic maniac whose mind is filled with misery and mental anguish. The more intense the sinner's suffering, the more powerful the Penitent engine. Of course, various stimulants are used to maximize its effectiveness. In a state of battle madness, the machine acts with concentration and deliberation, obsessed with a single thought. The faster it destroys its enemies, the sooner it will be free from constant agony. As you realize, the fate of such a pilot is not the most enviable. The Penitent engine, like all other such devices, is a vivid testament to the brutality and power of the Imperium of mankind.